everyone, it's Rich from Coolest Boss Ever. This is day 28 of our pre-launch towards the findacoolboss.com platform. Had a great holiday week. Really been working hard on our project here and on our launch. Got a lot of cool stuff going on, so hopefully everyone's had a good holiday season as well. And beginning of the year, it's time to really rock it. So a couple things that pop into my mind to offer you guys today. First of all, the platform's looking good. We're getting the updates constantly from the team, the software team. So that's really cool. But at the same time, I'm looking into what this is all about. It's not just a platform. It's what's behind the platform, which is the Coolest Boss Ever. And that's our movement that we're pushing. So, just as a reminder, what is this all about? It's about creating a better work life for both the companies, the leaders, the boss, and of course, the employees, the team, the people that make it all work. And how do you get them where everybody's, what we say, growing together? Easily said than done. Obviously, I'm more likely to be working with smaller businesses because they're just much faster. They get it. There's not a lot of different paths they got to go through, people they got to go through to make changes, because the reality is nothing changes unless you change. What changes, you got to change the inside before you can change everything around you on the outside. One of the biggest, simple but yet not easy mistake that everybody makes is they think if they just change the outside, the inside will change. No, to a degree, that's true sometimes. You change your environment, of course, that's going to influence you. But we're talking about a team, a culture that literally is spending most of their life working for your company and for you possibly. That's a lot to ask. So we want to make great teams. We want great companies. Great companies are created by great teams. That being said, I really gave me the last week, really gave me some time to reflect on, look, it's not just about the platform. The platform, findacoolboss.com. Now picture that, maybe you or someone someone you care about, friend, relative, or whatever, they're down, they don't have a job, I can't find a job, there's no jobs. I think we can agree that there's plenty of jobs, just not the job you're looking for. Whether it doesn't pay enough or it's something you're just totally not into, whatever the case is, there's a lot of pickiness going around. Once again, though, hey, that's your life. So in all fairness, they want to work somewhere where they're going to be happy and where they can thrive and actually enjoy going. Ultimately, that's the best thing, right? To love your job, love your boss. If you don't love your boss, you won't love your job. So that's kind of how that works. But either way, we're talking about building out that culture, and we're talking about, we need to find a way for them to align with the company. And a lot of that has to do with the marketing of your company before they even think they need a job. What does your company, what does your business show? If somebody hears the name, if someone sees, your logo or sees, your company somewhere or some sort of branding, how does that make them feel? Do they go like, wow, cool, that would be a cool place to work? Or are they going, oh God, that must be terrible? And we hear nightmare stories all the time. So the platform, findacoolboss.com, is just a way to connect companies with people that are looking for a job that they're going to love. How do we connect them so that it's a better fit and it's not just, what looks good on paper? Think about that for a second. A lot of business leaders, owners, what have you, they look at the bottom line. They're looking. And I was just talking to someone today on a side note, which kind of goes into this. The first thing they say, profits, a lot of times companies just look at profits first. And if it's not happening the way they want it to, then they're like, we got to do this. We got to cut back on that. We got to push them harder. We got to micromanage them more. And they don't realize that that's just toxic. That's just toxic, and it's just going to spread. You gotta push what the company serves and what it stands for. And then you got to figure out a way to package that into a system of systems, which then therefore you can focus more on the vision, the mission, the purpose of the company, and how we can just invite people to be a part of it. And everybody feels that they're contributing. That's what it comes down to. So the first thing, the person I was talking to, they, hey, what's going on? And I always warn people when they ask me that, hey, what's new? Because most people say, nothing, not much, not much. I'm like, you sure you want to ask me that? Because there's a lot of new stuff, and I don't, per se want to just talk about myself or whatever. But if you're asking me, I'll tell you. And then as you get a little bit more into it, it goes on and on and on, and because there's just so much to it. And then, wow, when I mentioned that this is a platform that we're creating, and a little bit of the backstory, and about how, hey, you could have a degree in something from a 4-year college that you paid a ton of money for, and then when you get out you find out where's the work, or wow, I expected to make $150K once I graduated college. It's just not usually a reality. That being said, when I mentioned to the platform, and I'm glad this happened, he was like, that's gonna be, and I looked at him, his body language, and I'm like, well, that's a tough mountain to climb. I mean, going up against, something like ZipRecruiter, and that's what that's gonna be tough. So I don't want to say he was a naysayer. That person just is one of those people, and there's groups of people. You got your early adopters that jump on anything that's new that they think is going to be cool. You got people that kind of wait a little bit, and then you got people that wait a while before they even think about jumping on. They're not risk takers by any means, and I just think maybe that's the vibe I got from him, like, that's going to be tough. So not a naysayer, but it got me thinking. And I'm like, you know what? Part of it motivated me, like, oh yeah? Wait until you see this. Wait until you see my name, down the road here, and what we've built. Because, I don't focus so much on the how in the big picture. I focus on what I want to happen. I don't know all the answers, and neither will you if you're starting a new big goal, whether it's a company or what have you. You're not going to know all the answers, and that's what freezes people. They say, well, I got to learn all this. I've been through that. And it did get me a lot of knowledge. But knowledge isn't power. Only applied knowledge is power. You need more action. And people like this that, it's like, how did they get so successful at what they do or whatever? It's because they took action. They may not be as smart as you. They may not work as hard as you. And, the list goes on and on. But yet they seem to be somewhere you want to be. Why? Because they took action. Nothing is magical. They say luck, is experienced by the hardest workers. The harder you work, the more lucky you get. And I do believe that. But either way, he said, that's going to be a big mountain. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to start. We start small. We start with a niche. And not just that, I start with small businesses where they feel it more. They feel it faster than the big companies. Just like if you have a small business, you're going to feel it faster. And you're going to be like, whoa. And then if you find something that's working, they say, wow, that would work cool. You can start tomorrow. You don't have to go through all the channels and turn that big ship. And that is an advantage that small businesses have. But I said to him, but it's not just about the platform. Before the platform will work, I have to have believers. I have to get people to think about this. I have to have believers, people that believe that, one, there needs to be a change. And two, that, what? This could work. Like if I changed our leadership style, it could totally turn this around. And it does. I've seen it happen. I've worked with companies where it happened, and my own company. I mean, I'm sitting here telling you that I've been through this, and now I'm enjoying a lot of those benefits. So that was really cool. Now, so that really motivated me, and I just wanted to share that. But as I, continue every day to work on different aspects, the platform itself, I got people that are professionals doing that, but they're only going by what I give them in terms of what I'm looking for, what I think we need. And then I get that from talking to people. I don't know all the answers, but I talk to people, business owners, employees, people looking for, job candidates looking for jobs, and they just can't find them, whatever it is. And I take that all in. And I just saw a big name author, and I just came across this and, came out with a book and on leadership. And there's about 1 million of them that you can read. And I think I read about 500,000 of them. A lot of it's very similar, same stuff, just conveyed differently. And that's okay, because if you get one gold nugget, right, it's worth it. And that's probably why I read like 3 books a week. So I have a lot of stuff in here, and I love sharing that, and I think that's why I can just talk with people so much. But anyways, they were just talking about something I just mentioned. I'm like, all right, cool. And anytime I see these big authors or whatever come out with books and I read them and I say, hey, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm telling people. It makes me feel good knowing that, hey, look at, number one, I'm not the only one that thinks this, but number two, I'm not the only one that thinks that people need to know this. But it does come down to people and peel the onion. Forget about all the channels. Forget about all the limited biases of, oh, this is the way it's done and this is the way it's always been done. Forget about all that. You can't expect change unless you change. And if you're the one steering the ship, you got to change first. And that's what when I consult with people, business owners, small business owners, that's the first step we do is we got to get rid of some of these limited beliefs. We got to get rid of some of these biases. And those are all, I mean, legitimate concerns. I mean, we get them from our experiences. So if they're professional biases or limited beliefs, that's through your experience in the work world. For whatever reason, it happened, you believe that's the way it's always going to happen, and you just, year after year, it just gets stronger and stronger. Some bosses don't care. Nope, this is my way or the highway. It's going to be your way. You're going to find yourself by yourself, especially nowadays. Unless you got a ton of money to bribe people to work for you. And I don't think you should be bribing anyone to work for your company. If you got to bribe someone, meaning you got to pay them more than anybody else, not because they're worth it, but because you need them so bad to do their thing, they're going to treat you badly. They're going to, and the highest bidder comes along, they're gone. Who wants that? Any small business owner will tell you. I know firsthand. I would rather have to do the work than have someone that I'm not sure is going to do it. So even though you might think hiring anybody, at least it'll help, more times than not, it actually is the other way. It's going to hurt more than it helps. And, planning, once you get that person and, you sucked it up and you're going to spend, you're going to invest in that person and compensate them and train them and take other people that we're producing and have them train them. You're going to take all that time. If they're not the right person and they just bail on you, or they calling in sick every other day, that's how you get these biases. Like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. If you want it done right, do it myself. That's how these things happen. But really, it's about getting the right people. And how do we do that? We get it by creating that magnetism. We get it where you become the attractor. What do people think when they hear the name of your company or your business? What do they think when they hear your idea? Maybe it's not a company or a business. It's just an idea. What do they think? What goes through their head? And if it's positive, like, wow, that's so cool, you're on the right track. And there's many ways of doing it. And I will share those in these videos on different aspects, whether it's systems or whether it's the communication or whether it's, being more empathetic or emotional intelligence. And once again, I don't want to throw out all these terms and people say, oh, all that wussy stuff. You got to pat them and rub their back every time they come to work. I'm not talking about that. You shouldn't have to do that either. Just treat people right. Treat them with respect. Treat them and acknowledge them that they are contributing. And I'm telling you, it's that simple. It's not easy, but it's that simple. And that's what the coolest boss ever is all about. And the more you start hurting, and your company, your business starts hurting because it's hurting profits and production. Why? Because you don't have the right people or enough people. Then you'll start coming around. Or maybe it'll be too late. Who knows? But either way, you need that team. So I was like, how can we get more people to become believers in the coolest boss ever, to be the coolest boss ever, to say, hey, I love my boss and I love the company because my boss is just a messenger of that company. That's true. So how do we do that? Well, one thing that I thought would be a great way to build up is to basically take a simple pledge, and the pledge would be the coolest boss ever leadership pledge, and it's built all around my cool boss factor. The 15 most impactful questions or characteristics that an effective leader must have, which is the Cool Boss Factor quiz, which is on our temp site, findacoolboss.com. And you can do that right now. And that literally will show you the 15 most powerful, impactful characteristics of leadership in a company. And you can literally just grade yourself, and even better, have someone in your company, somebody else besides you, if you don't find that you're honest enough. Me personally, I'm really self-aware, and I'm the first one to admit mistakes, and I want to fix them, and you can't fix them unless you face them. I learned that in the martial arts. But either way, we need to do a pledge. So what I basically did was I took those 15 questions and I turned it into a pledge, and they pledged to really work on and be aware of those 15 most impactful leadership characteristics, and then therefore receive a cool little award badge that they can put on all their marketing materials, on their website, that says, look, this is the coolest boss ever leadership pledge. And they know, and they're going to look at that and say, hey, look, this company gets it. Now, could someone just get that and then treat them like crap? Yeah, but what goes around comes around. I mean, you can fake, anyone can fake, and a lot of people do fake stuff. But sooner or later, it comes around, and you know that. But what a great way to get more believers. So that is my thing to finish this video today, is we are going to attract more believers that, hey, look we need better employee cultures. We need better work environments, not just for them, not just for employees, the team, but also for the company. And if it works better for the company, then any small business owner that owns that company, that owns all the stress and the responsibilities and accountability and everything that goes with owning a small business, whether you're got one employee, which would be yourself, so 2 employees, yourself and somebody else, or you have a team of employees. People are people. And just like that author I was just reading about, look, it goes down to the basics. You don't need some crazy big, super shiny, leadership training for, a shit ton of money and, a week of training. And then they come back and it's gone. Anyone that goes to seminars and workshops, and once again, me coming from the martial arts industry, if you don't take notes and you don't get enough reps in, you're forgetting half the stuff, and you're not even thinking about the stuff unless somehow you've created a way to remember the stuff, which most people don't. A month later, you're back to the same old thing. The ship just starts going back to where it's already always been programmed into. So let's take it down to the basics. The first step is to check out the Cool Boss Factor leadership quiz, and then from there you're going to see stuff on the findthecoolboss.com, as well as the Coolest Boss Ever website, talking about how you can get that reward pledge badge, which is the Coolest Boss Ever leadership pledge, which means you get it. You know how important it is to be a good leader. It all starts at the top, and then you're going to reap the rewards. And not just you, but even more importantly, your team is, because if your team's reaping rewards, you're reaping rewards. So I'll see you next video. Until then, start working on those leadership skills.